Section 6-7, Inverse Relations and Functions. By the end of today's lesson, students will be able to find the inverse of a relation or a function. The inverse relation. If AB is an ordered pair of the relation, then BA is the ordered pair of the inverse. So when you find the inverse, you just switch the x and the y variable to make it y comma x. Let's look at how we find the inverse of a relation. So I give you a t-chart where you have x and y variables. To find the inverse of this relation, what you're going to do is take the x and the y values and you're going to switch it. So instead of 0, -5, it's going to be -5, 0. Instead of 1, -4, it's going to be -4, +1, sorry. Instead of 2, -3, it's going to be -3, 2. Instead of 3, -3, it's going to be -3, 3. Okay, let's graph both of these. So I'm going to graph the relation in black, so 0, -5, 1, -4, 2, -3, and then 3, -3. Okay, now I'm going to graph the inverse in pink. So -5, 0, -4, 1, -3, 2, and then -3, 3. Okay, so when you graph a relation and its inverse, it's reflected over the y equals x line. And now let's determine if the inverse or if the relation is a function. So do these 4 dots over here pass the vertical line test? So yes, the relation is a function. Okay, now let's check to see if the inverse is a function. Does it pass the vertical line test? Do those 2 points pass the vertical line test? So no, the inverse is not a function. Now let's look at how we find the inverse of an equation when you're not given points to work with. So I'm going to give you some steps to help, okay? So your first step, if you need to, change f of x to y. After you do that, your second step is going to be to switch x and y. So what we do is we swap them. So we get x equals 2y plus 8. Okay, step 3 is going to be to solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to start by subtracting 8. So that gives me x minus 8 equals 2y. Divide by 2. So that gives me 1/2 x minus 4 equals y. Okay, and then your fourth step, change y to f -1 of x to indicate that it's the inverse. So the inverse is 1/2 x minus 4. We are going to graph a relation and its inverse on the same line. So in our first example, they gave you points, and it was really easy to switch x and y. Now you need to actually know what the graph is that it's given to you, and then you can switch x and y. So y equals 2x plus 5 is a line with a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 5. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a slope of 2, so up 2 and to the right 1. Okay, so this is the point 0, 5. If I switch it, it's going to become the point 5, 0. Okay, this next point over here is the point 1, 7. So I'm going to swap it over and it's going to become 7, 1. You could find the actual inverse function if you wanted to, or you can plot what you know and then just swap the x and the y variables.